As part of the Gina K Designs new release, we're going to make a holiday card with an oldie but a goodie technique, the chalkboard effect. It's Colleen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. So this is one of the new stamp sets from Gina K Designs new release. It's called Reason for the Season. It's got lovely sentiments. Jesus is the reason for the season. Merry Christmas. Have a holly jolly Christmas, the best time of the year. Wishing you Christmas joy and the happiest new year, and then a few other holiday sentiments. So this is something you will come back to year after year for your holiday cards. Now we're going to make a 5x7 card today, a larger card, using this Master Layouts 8 die cut set. It's a 5x7 die cut set that was released, I believe, a couple months ago, and I've been wanting to use it because I love 5x7 cards. So we're going to use that and this stamp set to create a card today. So the first thing I did was I die cut one of the layers out that has an edging to it, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there. I'm showing you a close-up of what the edging looks like. I think it's pretty how they do that with those master layout sets. So I'm prepping my card base because I'm going to do some heat embossing with the sentiment, have a holly jolly Christmas, the best time of the year. And we're going to do an emboss resist technique, which means we're going to heat emboss this, and then we're going to go over it with some ink, and the heat embossing will resist the ink. So it's a pretty cool effect. So I'm going in there with my Wow embossing pad, and then I'm going to use white embossing powder. So you're not going to see a whole lot in the beginning because it's basically white on white. But once I start ink blending, the magic will start to happen, and you'll see how the sentiment resists the ink. So I'm just heating this and setting this so that my sentiment is ready to go for my next step, which is to do some ink blending. And now I'm ready to do my ink blending using the black onyx ink and one of Gina K Designs blending brushes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the entire card panel with that black ink. And it's going to look like a hot mess in the beginning, but it's going to come together beautifully, looking like a chalkboard. So I'm not being real careful about my ink blending here because I want a bit of a mottled look, because I want this to look like a chalkboard, a classic old-fashioned chalkboard. So I'm going in with the ink and just blending, not worrying about getting really smooth blending here. That's not the purpose of this technique. I want a little black, a little gray, and even a little white to show through. And once I'm done blending this, then I'm going to show you how the emboss resist works. So right now, when you look at that sentiment, you can hardly see it because it's covered by the black onyx ink. But what I do is I spray a little water on my cloth and wipe over the top of it, and like magic, the white ink appears again. Isn't that cool? So now that I've got that done, I did a little die cutting in the center, and I am adding some white splatters just to give it a little more of a holiday-ish, Christmassy look. I love how that looks. So now that that's done, I am ready to adhere my layers to my card panel. So I die cut one of the other layers from the Master Layouts 8 using red paper because it's very holiday-ish to me. And then I prop the center part up on foam tape just to help it add a little interest, a little dimension to the card. I kind of like doing that technique. And then everything is going to be glued onto a 5x7 white card base. And I love how there's a lot of white around the rim of my card panel. I just think it looks really pretty. But there's more that I want to do because I feel like it needs a little bit of color. So I'm going in with the Always Delightful stamp set and Gina K's ink in blue raspberry, and I created these flowers and leaves. So what I'm going to do is place them around my sentiment, just to add a pop of color in there. So what I do too is before I adhere everything down, I place it where I want it. So I'm just putting the flowers and the leaves exactly where I want them. And once I have that set, then I can go in with a liquid glue and adhere everything down. Now the liquid glue I like because it gives me a little wiggle room to move things around till I get them exactly where I want them. So now that everything's been glued down, I'm going in with the final step, which is to add some silver sequins over the flowers and then onto the card panel around my sentiment, just to give it a little bit more interest. The details make all the difference in your cards, guys. So don't forget the little details. That's it for my card. Isn't it beautiful? And I made another one with red flowers, and that's it for the chalkboard effect. So I hope you grab your tools and you practice this yourself. All of the items that I used will be in the description box below, and I thank you for stopping by.